John F. Kennedy said, "A nation reveals itself not only by the men it produces, but also by the men it honors and the men it remembers." Today we remember and honor all the American veterans, ordinary men and women who died while they were in military service. Since 1866, when the people of Waterloo, New York, dipped their flags to half-mast and decorated their village to remember the soldiers who died during the Civil War, our nation has paid tribute to those lives of all servicemen and women who have fallen in the line of duty. The graves in Oneida and worldwide, now decorated by flags, remind us that freedom is not free. The military veterans resting there lived supporting the lives and values that create the backbone of our nation. And it is our solemn duty to remember them so that their lives will not be lost in vain nor go unremembered. And it is our solemn duty for their lives, because of this, for their lives were not committed to conflict or death, but to our freedoms and to our safety. It is also important to remember the families of these valiant heroes, the Gold Star families who lost loved ones, for the sacrifice was theirs as well. So let this Memorial Day be a beginning of a new commitment, a celebration of rebirth in both our country and in our city. And let us take this weekend and celebrate the memory of those who gave everything to keep our country free. Let me introduce our Master of Ceremonies, Mary Jo Nixdorf, who is a retired Navy Nurse Corps.
Good evening. We will begin the evening with the invocation by the Reverend Brian Fellows, St. Paul's United Methodist Church, Oneida, and the raising of the colors by Scott and Vicki Arnold, Gold Star Mother. The national anthem will be sung by Kevin Spooner, OH class of 217, and the Pledge of Allegiance by Allison Combs and Riley Rude, North Broad Street students.
Will you join your hearts with mine in prayer? Creator and Recreator, today we pause from our routines of life and remember. We remember that so much of what we take for granted in our culture and in our society is not what others in creation have. Call us away from our privilege into a place of recognition. May we understand that although we have rights and privileges and freedoms, they were earned. They are far from free. Families as well as individuals gave much for what we have today. This day, as we look upon the uniforms and weapons of war, may we remember the cost of freedom on a cultural and personal level. As we celebrate what we are blessed with, may we honor with words and actions those who bore so deeply the cost to our freedom. May we have the courage to listen and remember so that their payment for our freedom is not in vain and always remembered as well as cherished. Amen.
Right by, you remember where they were hooking the speakers up? I'm right there. She just texted me, wanted to hang the bikes by the school. Oh, well. Oh, wait, well, tell her I'm down where the booth was.
She wasn't with us.
All right. Love you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lee Mann Warren, President of the Oneida Memorial Association, will be presenting Remembering the Past.
Good evening. We are reminded today of the past of those who have fallen while serving their country. I think it's easy to forget this. I often find myself in the midst of the day with the hustle and bustle of life, the distractions that take place, and we're always in a hurry to go nowhere. I believe it is easy to forget the past.
I'm up by the booth.
We also often think of Memorial Day as the kickoff of summer. It's always the unofficial start of summer. This weekend, I hope we will reflect on the past. And I'm reminded of the past when I talk to the family members in this area about our fallen Oneida heroes. They share with me the stories that their family members sacrificed for this country that makes American history. They tell their stories to help us remember the past. I am afraid that one day, if we do not continue to share these stories to the next generation and the generation after that, and with each other, that history may dissolve. In a sense, history would become history. As I reflected on all these things, all the memories that I've had of the family members sharing their stories, it's simple to keep the history alive. And we all have a part in what we can do. I encourage the families to keep telling their stories. Keep reminding us of what they did. Keep reminding us of those Oneida fallen heroes and their names so we will not forget.
Tell Ellie, you know where the speakers were?
As they tell us the stories, we need to listen.
Ask Ellie where the speakers were. She said,
And we need to remember ourselves to go ahead and share these stories with one another within the community.
Ellie, sit
History can be alive if we continue to do so.
this time.
Therefore, history will never dissolve if we continue to teach the next generation these stories so they can be passed on from year to year all the way through history. This year I took president of the Oneida Memorial Association. Back several years ago when I joined, I am reminded of the one person that was president back then, our past president, always kept us focused on the meaning of Memorial Day. Since 1981, she has dedicated many, many hours, committed the resources so that we could stand here today. As a committee, we decided to honor her and pay tribute to her. Even though she had a prior commitment tonight and couldn't be here, if you see her, please thank her for all the hard work that she has done to help us remember why we are here today. And that is our past president for many, many years, Sally West. I hope that after today we will continue to remember history and remember the past, and we will continue to share with one another our Oneida fallen heroes and what they've done right here in our community. I am reminded that freedom is never free. I want to thank you for being here today and remembering those who have fallen during battle. Let us keep remembering those who have served, not as an unofficial start of summer, but as a part of remembering the past. Thank you.
Jillian Brodock and Alexa Skapitsky, third highest members of OHS Class of 216, will present the Youth Salute to veterans.
The following is a poem by Burton Halley called Lest We Forget. Our dead rest on the breast of France and all around the world, where by war's grim or splendid chance our banners were unfurled. So whether here or overseas their bodies chance to lie, we pay full honor unto these who did not fear to die. Because they dared, because they died, we and our nation live. Our liberty, our hope, our pride were the gifts that they could give. And since for all these gifts the price was life, they held life cheap and blithely made the sacrifice and laid them down to sleep. O dead of many wars, who fought with spirit high and pure, the noble structure that you wrought shall evermore under. You held your country's cause above all else. We, unafraid, will keep your country worthy of the price you gladly pay.
A Memorial Day Salute by Debbie Bongiovanni. Today we honor all of you who served your country with pride. You risked your life for all of us as you fought side by side. Your strength and courage always showed, no matter what the danger might be. And you did all of this so that we could be free. Thank you all for what you've done, and now we will all pray for each and every one of you on this Memorial Day.
We now honor the names of all those from Oneida who fought and died while serving in past and present wars. It is fitting that we call the names in recognition and appreciation for the price they paid to preserve our great nation on lest we forget. The names will be read by Civil War, Tom Baker; World War I, Robert Heller; World War II, Leo Matsky and Marty Winchell; Korean War, Don Miller; Vietnam War, Douglas Wright; Afghanistan, Douglas Wright.
Good evening. We have to remember that our bloodshed started long before the Civil War, so please don't forget those of us that fought through the Revolutionary War. Civil War veterans from our area: John R. Stewart, Joseph R. L. Butler, Orson S. Hudson, William H. Kimball, George L. Menzie, James W. Byrd, Marshall B. Hope, James Butler, Seth Johnson, William Bigelow White. May they not be forgotten.
For the fallen of World War I, Herbert L. Armstrong, Irving Baracall, Ernest Bisbee, Percy A. Dean, Earl Downs, Bernard Dunn, Cecil T. Ernenwine, Martin Girolamo, Elani Hill, Louis W. Howe, Hayden James, Claude R. Johnston, James Kelly, Charles J. Kenny, Lawrence Kensinger, Daniel H. Kinney, Ernest Koch, Walter Lee, Leroy Mott, Philip Nazito, Arthur Pardee, Earl O. Sanford, John Shrimp, Earl H. Sizer, Lawrence Ublacker, Charles Wilkinson, and Ralph Wood. May you rest in peace.
Our World War II veterans: Sergeant Raymond Aldrich, Sergeant Raymond Allen, Lieutenant Joseph Baldanza, Distinguished Flying Cross, Lieutenant George Bellinger, Corporal Michael Bruno, Sergeant First Class Robert Busher, PFC William J. Crincy, Silver Star for Gallantry in Action, PFC Richard Cross, Lieutenant Donald Cunningham, Sergeant Orrin Dunster, Lieutenant Alexander Durkee, Captain Wilbur Earl, Silver Star for Gallantry in Action, Private Robert Elkstra, PFC Melvin Fargo, PFC William Farrell, Private Peter Faltz, Rank 5 Richard Fura, Paul E. Gallus, PFC Gordon R. Glynn, Lieutenant Franklin Gowing, Lieutenant Fred Guyette, and Sergeant Donald Harrington, Silver Star.
While the Oneida High School Band plays Your Grand Old Flag and America the Beautiful. Oh, I missed one.
Sorry about that. Ensign Raymond Harsma, Corporal Earls Hasty, Lieutenant Robert Hollis, Corporal Leonard Hull, Corporal Stuart Jones, MM2 James Lettieri, Private Richard Martin, T5 Bernard R. O'Brien, RM3 Richard Perling, Sergeant Arthur Flans, Private George Poppleton, Private Arlington Raymond, Lieutenant Juan Riveras, Sergeant Robert Rooney, Private Joseph Rule, Thomas Sansone, Sergeant Bernard Seitz, Distinguished Service Cross, Lieutenant Norman Short, Private William Simpson, Sergeant Thomas Skinner, Lieutenant Jack Stabb, Sergeant William Suber, Corporal David Tanner. Sorry, I got these, Lynn. Private George Thayer, Private Ira Townsend, Private James Townsend, Private Harry Vulcan, Sergeant Richard Van Norstan, Lieutenant Louis Veeling, Sergeant Anthony Viglini, Private Fred Raffner, Lieutenant Charles Watkins, and Corporal Hugh Yeaman. believe that's it.
The Oneida area military personnel who gave their lives for our freedom and our way of life during the Korean War are Corporal Willard L. Clinch, Private First Class Ralph E. Dennison, Sergeant Thomas McCullough, Corporal Willis J. Nichols, Jr., Private Claude W. Ortman, Corporal Otto T. Perkins, Lieutenant John A. Wands, Private Otto Winchell. Gone but not forgotten.
Good evening. From Vietnam, Corporal James V. Bigtree, Lieutenant Commander Philip C. Craig, Specialist 4 Kenneth G. Havens, Corporal Leslie W. Phillips, Sergeant William Porter, Staff Sergeant Richard Bradley, Specialist 5 Dale M. Snyder, Specialist 5 Ralph A. Wickham, Captain George H. Horton. That was from Vietnam. And our one individual from Iraq is Lance Corporal Jeremy Ash Lasher. May they rest in peace.
While the Oneida High School Band plays Your Grand Old Flag and America the Beautiful, arrangement by Mike Story, wreaths will be placed by the American Legion Post 169, the Sons of the Union Veterans of the Civil War, and VFW Post 600 of Canastota, and the Soldier Cross placed by Marine Corps League Leatherstocking Detachment. Also this year, family members and descendants of the fallen heroes will join Oneida descendants in placing Decoration Day flowers around the monument. See how they come up with some of this. Did they come up? In closing, the benediction will be given by Reverend Fellows, followed by the gun salute by Post 54 of Munnsville, and taps by Christopher Borders and Vincent Jutton.
Join your hearts with mine in prayer. Holy One, we are about to end our time of remembering and move to a time of celebration. May we never forget the sacrifices of life and mind that affect the people, families, and communities of our nation for generations. Be about the work of healing in our lives and in this place, so all creation draws closer to the spirit that unites all the tribes of humankind. Sometimes peacemaking requires us to go to war. May our encounters with memories this day provide us with the wisdom in knowing when to seek war and when to seek peace. Love us, be patient with us, and guide us in all we do. May we always and forever show the goodness of your love in all we do. In your mercy we plead, and in your grace we dare to ask. Amen.
Let the parade begin.